Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center, a program that focuses on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strive to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concerns the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of this and more will be front and center. Join me in this half-hour program here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You can watch this program over Radyo Pilipinas World Service via Facebook page live broadcast. Just access our Facebook page, Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You can also catch every front and center programs over our YouTube channel. Just type in your YouTube browser, Radyo Pilipinas World Service. The program Front and Center and the programs of Radyo Pilipinas World Service can also be listened to the following shortwave frequencies: 12.010 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. So come and join us for another edition of Front and Center. I am your host, Rey Sampang. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. canceled his participation in the 20th Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP28, in Dubai, to personally address important developments in the hostage situation involving 17 Filipino seafarers. President Marcos Jr. has entrusted the country's Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga to lead the COP28 delegation and articulate the country's statement on his behalf. Yemeni rebels seized the cargo vessel Galaxy Leader and took hostage its 25 crew members, including 17 Filipinos, in retaliation for Israel's offensive in Gaza. That is according to the Department of Foreign Affairs. The Bahamas-flagged British-owned Galaxy Leader, with links to Israeli businessman Abraham Rami Ungar, is operated by a Japanese firm. In a short video message, President Marcos extended his apologies to the Filipino community in the United Arab Emirates after he opted to cancel his trip to Dubai to personally address important developments in the case of the 17 Filipino seafarers and vowed to exhaust all remedies available to send home safely the 17 Filipino seafarers who were held hostage by the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Kumusta na dyan mga kababayan sa Dubai? Salamat at kayo nakahanap ng oras para tayo sana dapat magsasama-sama. Dapat magkasama tayo ngayon sa malaking pagtitipod ng PhilCom sa iba't ibang bansa. Kaso na nga lang, medyo malungkot kasi hindi tayo natuloy. Alam naman ninyo, may mga bagay na kailangan agad na asikasuhin. Isa na doon, yung ating mga kababayan, mga kapwa-Pilipino natin na na-hostage. 17 sila na na-hostage at ginagawa natin lahat ng paraan upang sila ay may uwi na. At kaya binubuo natin ang isang delegasyon para pumunta sa kanila at makipag-usap doon sa mga may hawak sa kanila para makauwi na sila. Kaya siguro naman maunawaan ninyo na inunan muna natin yan dahil kailangan natin tiyakin siyempre ang seguridad ng ating mga kababayan. Kakatapos lang natin na iuwi lahat ng ating mga Pilipino na iwan sa Gaza. Doon nga sa labanan ng Israel at sa Gaza ay yung iba na hostage, meron nga tayong casualty, napakalungkot. Ngunit yung mga naging hostage at saka yung mga hindi makalabas ay nailabas na natin. Kaya patuloy naman ang aming ginagawa upang ang ating mga kababayan ay maging maganda naman ang kanilang sitwasyon at sa lalong madaling panahon ay sana makauwi na sila. Kapanghinayan nga dahil I was looking forward to being with you. dahil alam nyo, sa lahat ng aking mga pagbabiyahe, ang pinakamasaya sa lahat ng biyahe na yan ay pagka nagkikita tayo mga Pilipino. Dahil siyempre pagka maraming Pilipino, laging masaya. Laging may kantahan, laging may tawanan. At I feel very bad that I will not be able to do it with you this time. Ngunit, ay pinapangako ko sa inyo, pagka nagkaroon ng iba pang pagkakataon, ay gagawin natin ulit yan. At I will make it up to you at gagawin pa natin yung mas magandang programa para naman makabawi naman ako sa inyo na hindi ako nakarating ngayong panahon na ito. Ngunit magkakaroon pa tayo ng pagkakataon at titiyakin natin na ang magiging pagsasama ulit natin, magiging pagsasama ng Filipino community ay magiging matagumpay at masaya, kagaya ng lagi, basta't kasama ang mga Pilipino. Sa ngayon, gusto ko lang pasalamatan kayo sa inyong malaking ambag sa bayan. Ang sipag, ang kahusayan at pagtataguyod nyo ng serbisyong Pilipino ay isang kahanga-hangang halimbawa para sa ating lahat dito sa Pilipinas at kinikilala na sa buong mundo. Maagang maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay ang bawat Pilipino sa Dubai at sa buong UAE. Maraming salamat po. Nami-miss na kayo namin. Basta't asahan ninyo, magkikita rin tayo.
You just heard a message from Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for the Filipino community in Dubai. But before President Marcos Jr. decided to cancel his trip to Dubai for the COP28, the Chief Executive awarded climate adaptation funds to 6 local government units during the ceremonial turnover of the People's Survival Fund or PSF in Malacanang on Wednesday, worth a total of 541.44 million pesos. The PSF was distributed to the following. The funds were given to the Mountain Province, which is located in the northern Philippines. It received around 271.15 million pesos for its climate field school for farmers. The Marabag Bukidnon, which is situated in the island of Mindanao, south of Manila, and has received 126 million pesos for its installation of drainage and early warning system. Another is Borongan City in Eastern Samar, a province in the central island of the Philippines, which was allocated 117.96 million pesos for installation of embankment infrastructure and reforestation for flood control. Cabagan Isabela, also in the island of Luzon, north of the capital Manila, received 21.28 million for its solar-powered irrigation system in 3 barangays. And the Catanawan Quezon Province, this is south of Manila, which was also given 2.64 million pesos for its mangrove rehabilitation, and the Besao Mountain Province, likewise a northern region of the island of Luzon, which was given 2 million for its development grant for resiliency and food security project. The turnover brings the number of PSF-funded projects to 11 climate adaptation initiatives and 6 development grants. The PSF was created under Republic Act No. 10174 in 2012, allocating an annual 1 billion pesos replenishable fund to help local government units finance climate adaptation projects. It only received funding in 2015. Local governments must pass their proposals to the PSF board, headed by the Department of Finance. Eligible projects include those that concern water resources management, land management, agriculture and fisheries, health and other activities that serve as guarantee for the risk insurance needs of farmers and agricultural workers. Here again is Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on the ceremonial turnover of the People's Survival Fund or PSF held in the President's Hall in Malacanang Palace, Manila.
Today marks an extremely important and pivotal moment because this ceremony convenes the turnover of the People's Survival Fund, a testament to this government's unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship and climate resilience. I am pleased to announce a historic achievement: the approval of 5 climate change adaptation projects in various local government units, totaling 539.44 million pesos. One project development grant worth 2 million has likewise been recently approved. This milestone not only reinforces our dedication to climate adaptation, but it also signifies that for the first time, in a remarkably short period, the PSF board has approved projects of such magnitude. The PSF and the projects it funds will serve as a safeguard as we adapt to climate change and mitigate its effects. We can proudly say that the Philippines is a trailblazer in domestic climate finance for adaptation, showcasing our nation's commitment to global environmental responsibility. As we are set to participate, I leave for Dubai, in the UAE, tomorrow, to participate in the 28th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or what is more commonly known as COP28. We are once again poised to lead. We will use this platform to rally the global community and call upon nations to honor their commitments, particularly in climate financing. To the beneficiaries of the PSF, I extend my congratulations and our continuing support to all your efforts to mitigate and to adapt to the effects of climate change in our country. Your dedication to climate-related projects is noteworthy and will help boost the resilience of our people and their communities. So I urge you to ensure the successful implementation of your respective projects, understanding that your efforts contribute greatly to our collective survival. You are not alone in this effort. We in the national government are behind you and are ready to do all that we need to do and to assist you, to guide you, and so that these projects will be successful and will lead on to greater and bigger mitigation efforts for climate change effects. It is something I have always said that there is during the time since the last year and a half, it has become very, very clear that there is no discussion in government whether the sectors being discussed are health, our infrastructure, our security, any other subject. The subject of climate change is always included and always comes up. That is how important it is, and that is also the importance that we ascribe to the efforts of our local governments, our national government, to mitigate and to adapt to the climate change effects in the Philippines. We have unfortunately been determined to be one of the most vulnerable countries to the effects of climate change in the world. And so we must do our part here in the Philippines. But we must also take the lead when it comes to the global move and the global aspiration that those most vulnerable communities around the world will somehow be assisted by the developing countries when it comes to these measures to mitigate and to adapt to climate change. So I hope that the successful execution of these plans serve as an inspiration to other LGUs to strengthen our shared commitment to climate resilience. Our planet's health cannot be sacrificed for short-term gains, and therefore it is our obligation to shape a world that our children will inherit with pride. Ladies and gentlemen, let us view the challenges brought about by climate change not as burdens to be carried, but opportunities for renewal and advancement. We have been given after COVID, we have been given I would say, a almost blank page to write our future history on. And that is the opportunity that I see. It now is up to us to formulate and put together and to implement and to bring to our local communities the effects of that effort to mitigate and to adapt to climate change. Through the PSF, we can realize our dream for a sustainable and climate-resilient Philippines. We can showcase the transformative change that a united people can achieve. So once again, congratulations to our beneficiaries. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Maraming salamat sa pagkabahagi ninyo ng bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. delivering a speech on the event of the PSF, granting financial support for the PSF. That speech was done by the President a day or prior to his announcement of his cancellation or not participating or attending in the COP28 in Dubai. And that is just for clarification. Meanwhile, on other developments, the Philippines House of Representatives passed an important proposed law that will further ensure the protection and well-being of Filipinos, of millions of Filipino out-of-school youths. The House of Representatives passed and approved on third and final reading House Bill number 9437, or the Magna Carta for out-of-school youth in the Philippines. The measure seeks to acknowledge and promote the rights of out-of-school youth and empower them to contribute to nation building by providing learning and employment opportunities as well as the needed social services and interventions. The bill spells out the rights and empowerments for out-of-school youths, such as their human rights, equal treatment before the law, representation of out-of-school youth in media, film and other platforms, recognition and the preservation of cultural identity, and integrity of the Moro and indigenous out-of-school youths to practice, promote, protect, and preserve their own culture, traditions, and institutions, and decent work standards for the out-of-school youths who have graduated from technical vocational education and training courses. The proposed law provides government assistance and support to out-of-school youths in education, health, social services, and employment, particularly programs to ensure free access of the out-of-school youths to formal, informal, and non-formal learning opportunities, such as technical or vocational education, alternative learning system, promotion to tertiary education, and entrepreneurial education and other programs that seek to reduce poverty and vulnerability to risk faced by the out-of-school youths. The bill also provides for the penalties for violations under the measure, such as discrimination against out-of-school youths by private corporations, entities, and individuals, discrimination in wages, condition of work, and employment opportunities, and non-compliance with the mandatory coverage by employers of health, accident, and life insurance. The measure is also defined by the roles and responsibilities of the National Youth Commission, the Department of Education, the Commission on Higher Education, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, the Local Social Welfare and Development Office, Sangguniang Kabataan or Council of Youth, the Local Youth Development Council, and the local government units, including the Department of Agriculture and non-government organizations. We'll be back with Front and Center after another edition of Pinoy Kultura.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy. Tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
A blessing of safe voyage and a chance to cool off, pinagmamalaki ng kanta ang Antipolo, named after tipolo or breadfruit. prolific in the area. The city prides itself as a pilgrimage capital of the Philippines. Two of its more popular attractions are the historical church of the Nuestra Señora de la Paz y Buen Viaje and its summer popular waterfalls, ang Hinulugang Taktak. The Franciscan missionaries built the church in 1578 and the Jesuits administered it in 1591. Thousands traveled to pray to Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage, brought in from Mexico in 1626 and enshrined in the cathedral. A favorite tradition is trekking to the shrine on Good Friday Eve and May 1st. Another tradition is having new cars blessed at the church. Many believe it will ensure the safety of the car and its passengers. OFWs also pray for success abroad. Pagkatapos ng pagpapala sa misa ay ang inaabangan ng mga bata ang pagligo sa sikat na Hinulugang Taktak, described playfully in its song. It was first opened in July 1952, became a national park in September 1990, and a protected landscape in November 2000. In 2002, it had to be rehabbed because of water pollution. In February 2020, Hinulugang Taktak reopened, together with unique recreational installations for wall climbing, hanging bridges, and a spider web platform. And don't forget, before you leave, ang pasalubong. Sikat sa lugar ang suman at mangga, but you can also bring home antipolo in a jar, like cocoa jam, latik, kalamay, or adobong kasoy. So, no time to waste. Get into the culture, enjoy a blessing, and have some fun. Tayo na!
Yan ang Pinoy kultura.
Serving the
Because our
Republic of the
culture
Philippines
is cool.
for more than 75 years. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service.
You are still listening to Front and Center here on Radio Pilipinas World Service. Here is something that will surely put a smile on bike enthusiasts. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has declared the last working day of November as National Bike to Work Day as part of the government's efforts to raise public awareness on the viability of cycling as a mode of transportation and promote active transport in the Philippines. A two-page proclamation number 409 signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin on November 28 highlighted the need to raise public awareness on the viability of cycling as a mainstream mode of transportation in order to further improve cycling infrastructure in the Philippines. The proclamation also aims to promote a balanced and healthful ecology that is in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature, ensure a balance between development and environmental protection, and maintain a quality of air that protects human health and welfare. The Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028 underscores the need to develop active transport network and accord highest priority to pedestrians and cyclists in the hierarchy of road users. The proclamation further stated that the post-pandemic new normal requires the adoption of measures to enable safe, independent, physically distanced travel, especially for essential workers, so that the country is better prepared in the event of another health emergency. Philippine President Marcos Jr. designated the Interagency Technical Working Group on Active Transport, or IATWGAT, of the Department of Health to lead, coordinate, and supervise the observance of the National Bike to Work Day. The Philippine President also mandated the AITWGAT to identify the programs and projects, including activities for the annual celebration, as he urged both the public and private sectors to support the yearly National Bike to Work Day. Well, there you go. Bikers in the Philippines can look forward for a more safer roads to use when they use their bikes for their exercise and even for going to work. Here in the Philippines, bicycles has steadily, though not that much, has been depended upon by people who goes to work every day, plying major and secondary roads to avoid the monstrous traffic in Metro Manila. And according to the World Health Organization, cycling and walking can help fight overweight and reduce physical inactivity, which causes 1 million deaths per year globally. Both means of active transport can also help to reduce air pollution that claims more than 500,000 deaths every year. Evidence shows that investments in policies that promote safe cycling and walking can play a crucial role in shaping health, mitigating climate change, and improving the environment. I hope you enjoyed today's edition of Front and Center here on Radio Pilipinas World Service. You can watch this program over Radio Pilipinas World Service via Facebook page live broadcast. Just access our Facebook page, Radio Pilipinas World Service. You can also catch every Front and Center programs over our YouTube channel. Just type in your YouTube browser, Radio Pilipinas World Service. The program Front and Center and the programs of Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be listened to the following shortwave frequencies: 12.010 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. Together with our producer Erwin Peñano and our technical personnel and technical operators, Mr. Leo Magpayo, and our technical supervisor Anthony Pimentel, this is your host, Rey Sampang. Join us again in another episode of Front and Center. Mabuhay and love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.